Welcome to Fascinating Flash.
Today we're looking at Ragnarok. It's probably the most famous story from Norse mythology, but also maybe one of the most complex.
Absolutely. And our goal here is to unpack some of those layers, moving past just the big battles and destruction to see what else is going on.
Especially that idea of rebirth that comes right at the end.
Yeah, it's not just an ending. But first, the name itself, Ragnarok. It has a couple of meanings, doesn't it?
It does. One translation is something like final destiny of the gods. It sounds very final.
Yes.
Sealed.
Like fate, the Norns, it's all predetermined. Nothing Odin or anyone can do.
Exactly. But then there's another way to read it. Twilight of the gods.
Which sounds less like a full stop and more like a transition, like dusk before dawn.
Precisely. And that difference, that tension between a fixed, absolute end and maybe a more cyclical, transformative event, that's really key to understanding the whole thing.
It's like the prophecy Odin heard from the Volva, the seeress. He knew something was coming.
He did. The knowledge was there, but maybe not the full picture, or perhaps the inevitability was the core message.
So if this massive event is foretold, what's the spark? What actually, lights the fuse?
It really all spirals out from Baldr's death. And Loki, well, Loki's right at the center of that.
The god of mischief seems fitting, if tragic.
He finds out the one thing that can harm Baldr, mistletoe. Everything else swore an oath not to hurt him, but mistletoe was overlooked.
Too young, too insignificant. Wasn't that the idea?
Something like that. So Loki crafts a weapon from it and then tricks Hodder, Baldr's own blind brother, into throwing it.
Just devastatingly cruel. And Loki wasn't done there, was he? He also sabotaged the attempt to bring Baldr back from hell?
Mm-hmm. Hel agreed to release Baldr if everything in creation wept for him, and almost everything did.
Almost.
Loki, disguised as an old giantess named Thok, refuses. Just flat out says, let Hel keep what she has. That act seals Baldr's fate in the underworld.
Then guarantees Ragnarok is coming. But that treachery doesn't go unpunished for Loki?
No, his punishment is intense. It directly ties into the coming chaos.
How so?
He's bound deep in a cave, using the entrails of his own son, Narfe.
Grim.
And above him, a serpent drips venom onto his face. His wife, Sigyn, tries to catch it in a bowl, but when she has to empty it.
The venom hits him.
Right. And his screams, his thrashing and agony, are said to be the cause of earthquakes.
So Loki's personal suffering is literally shaking the foundations of the world. That's powerful symbolism.
It's a physical manifestation of the disorder he unleashed. And it's a precursor to other signs.
What else starts to happen? What are the warning signs?
Well, first there's Thimble winter. Not just one harsh winter, but 3 back-to-back with no summers in between.
That would cause chaos, starvation, war.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Humanity turns on itself. Then the sky itself starts to fail. The wolves, Skoll and Hati, who've been chasing the sun and moon forever.
They finally catch them.
They do. They devour them, plunging the world into darkness.
And the earthquakes Loki started?
They intensify. They become so violent that they shatter mountains and break all bonds, including Loki's. And Fenrir's.
Fenrir, the giant wolf, son of Loki, he breaks free too.
He does. And that's when things really escalate. The major players start to gather for the end.
Okay, so who's involved in this final muster?
You have Jormungandr, the Midgard serpent, another of Loki's children, rising from the sea. Its thrashing causes massive floods, and its breath poisons the air and water.
A world serpent, a giant wolf, earthquakes, darkness. It's bleak.
And then comes Nagvar.
The ship, made of fingernails, is that right?
Yeah, dead men's nails. It's captained by the giant Frym, or sometimes Loki himself, carrying hordes of giants toward the battlefield.
Just incredibly dark imagery. And this is the signal for the final battle.
It is. Heimdall, the watchman of the gods, sees them coming and blows the Jallar horn.
The horn that can be heard throughout all the 9 worlds.
Exactly. It's the call to arms. The Aesir gods gather. Odin leads the Einherjar, the chosen warriors from Valhalla, out onto the plain of Vigrid. Even the World Tree, Yggdrasil, shudders.
So who are they facing on this battlefield, Vigrid?
It's a terrifying lineup. You've got the fire giants from Muspelheim led by Surtur with his flaming sword, the frost giants. Loki is there with the souls from hell, and of course Fenrir and Jormungandr.
Gods, heroes, giants, monsters.
Yeah,
It sounds like mutually assured destruction.
it pretty much is. The proxies laid out specific duels. Odin fights Fenrir.
And loses, right? Fenrir swallows him.
Yes. But then Odin's son, Vidar, described as silent and strong, avenges him by tearing Fenrir's jaws apart.
Okay, some measure of justice there. What about Thor?
Thor confronts his arch-nemesis, Jormungandr. He kills the serpent with Mjolnir.
But There's always a but, it seems.
But he's drenched in the serpent's venom. He manages to walk 9 steps, then collapses, dead.
Wow. Frey fights Surtur.
He does, but he gave away his magic sword earlier, a costly mistake. Surtur kills him.
And Heimdall and Loki.
They face each other, and both fall. Same with Tyr and Garm, the Hound of Hell. They kill each other. It's just annihilation.
Almost a complete wipeout of the major figures on both sides. Is anything left standing?
Barely. The climax is Surtur, the fire giant, unleashing his fire across everything. He burns the 9 worlds. The earth itself cracks and sinks beneath the boiling waves.
That sounds utterly final. Like nothing could survive that kind of cosmic fire and flood.
It really does seem like the end. Total, absolute destruction. But, and this is the amazing part of the mythology, it's not.
Okay, so what happens after the world burns and sinks?
From the water, a new world emerges. Green, fertile, beautiful. Crops grow without needing to be sown.
A literal new beginning.
And a new sun appears in the sky, the daughter of the one devoured by Skull. Light returns.
So the world itself is reborn. What about the gods? You said it was almost a total wipeout. Who's left?
A few survive. Odin's sons, Vidar, who avenged him, and Vali, they represent perhaps endurance and continuity.
And Thor's sons, too.
Yes, Modi and Magnirath, and strength. And crucially, they inherit Mjolnir, their father's hammer.
A symbol of power passing to a new generation. Anyone else?
Most importantly, Baldr returns from hell. And his brother Hoder, who killed him unwillingly, comes back too. They are reconciled.
That brings the whole tragedy full circle, doesn't it? The death that started it all is undone in this new world.
Exactly. They meet on the field of Idavol, where Asgard used to be, and they find something interesting in the grass.
What's that?
The golden game pieces that the original Aesir used to play with long ago.
Like a chance to start the game over. Rebuild, maybe learn from the past.
That's a powerful interpretation, yeah. Rebuilding with wisdom gained through loss. And it's not just the gods who get a second chance, humanity does too.
How did anyone survive Surtur's fire?
2 humans, Lif and Lifthrasir. Their names mean life and will to live or life's desire. They hid deep within a wood, sometimes thought to be part of Yggdrasil itself, called Hugnimus Holt. They survived by drinking the morning dew.
And they emerge into this new green world.
Ready to repopulate it. So humanity endures, just like the world and a remnant of the gods.
So Ragnarok isn't just an apocalypse. It's more like a violent clearing of the slate. A necessary destruction to allow for renewal.
That seems to be the core message. Order collapses into chaos. Chaos leads to utter destruction. But out of that destruction comes rebirth. A new potential for order. It's cyclical.
It really makes you think, maybe what looks like a definitive end from one perspective is actually just a transformation, a necessary phase in a much larger ongoing process.
That's certainly a fascinating thought to leave with. Is any end truly final or just a turn of the wheel?
Something to ponder. Until next time.